Hello, I'm Tony, and today we are escaping the Arctic, because it's really cold, in Faraway 3, Arctic Escape, a game free from Prime Gaming until the 18th of April 2023. We had Faraway 2 given away from Amazon not so long ago in January, which you can check out the review in the top right corner. So, how does this one match up? Well, it's very much more the same, except with more snow really. The music is a pleasant piano-based tune that, to be honest, just seems to fade into the background, which isn't exactly a criticism, it's almost a requirement for this type of game music. I think it's the same as the first one. I'm not entirely sure about that though. My initial impression of the game graphics was that they're worse than the previous game, though I don't think that's true. I think it's probably more that the colour palette is more restricted because it's like a plainer environment. You know, I think everyone would say the Arctic is visually less interesting than the jungle maybe, certainly colour wise. As before, there are no textures on the 3D objects in this world, and everything is fairly blocky, so it's not the most visually appealing, though it does mean that the things that you need to interact with really stand out. The graphics aren't really the focus of the game though, the puzzles are. Each level presents us with an area that looks a lot more open than it really is, since you're blocked off from quite a lot of places. And there's various puzzles that need to be solved to allow you to move on into another area of the map. Solving the puzzles might open a door, make bridges appear, or give you an item to use elsewhere. Items are collected and stored in your inventory that can be accessed via the right mouse button. You select the object and then you can use it on something in the environment. And for the most part it's pretty accommodating for where you click. As long as it's roughly over the object, it will use it appropriately. There was one puzzle that involved hanging weights that was pretty picky about the placement, but it was the exception rather than the rule. There is a mix of puzzles. Some are logic based and some are basic pattern matching, with the appropriate patterns somewhere nearby in the environment. Later pattern puzzles need a bit of work to uncover the solutions, which adds to what is otherwise a very simple puzzle. The logic puzzles tend to be introduced via a simple example before they're ramped up into more complicated versions of the same basic idea, though it leads you into the solutions pretty nicely. There are other puzzles though that aren't puzzles. Sometimes you just need to drag something with the mouse, whether it's dragging a door handle down to the ground or sliding a bar from one side to the other. These interactions are actually pretty common in this game. As with the previous game, there are story pages to collect, 3 per level, that build up into, well, not a lot really. It's just a lot of talk about being here and wanting to get out. And I honestly stopped reading them after a few levels. I suspect they've been included for replayability purposes, as typically finding the first one is easy, the second one is somewhat hidden, and the third one is pretty hard to find. But of course you should collect them all because you're worth it? I don't know. Now I don't know if it's because it was only a couple of months ago that I played the previous version, but I found this game to be a lot easier than that. Faraway 2 took me about 6 hours to play, but I completed the 21 levels this game consists of, which is 20 really, 21 is more of a cutscene. I completed it in under 2.5 hours. The vast majority of the puzzles I completed without needing too much effort. There were a couple that actually took a bit of thinking, and there were a lot of those interaction so-called puzzles, but I never once got stuck. I didn't collect all the story pages in that time, obviously, I don't care about it, and that would add to the amount of playtime if you wanted to fully complete the game. But a base of 2.5 hours is pretty disappointing. I will give credit to the developers. There were new types of puzzle that weren't in the previous game, which I did appreciate, but the overall level of complexity of the puzzles in this game was a lot lower than the previous one, and I would say they were a lot less inventive. If you enjoyed Faraway 2, you'll probably enjoy this one, but you are going to find it less challenging, I think. I still had fun playing this, but I did really want more complex puzzles and to need to use my brain a bit more, and I really didn't need to. For the time this is available for free, it's a diverting enough couple of hours of gameplay that provides you some level of challenge. So if you did like the previous one, go grab it. If I'd paid for this though, I'd be pretty salty that I'd not be able to get my money back from Steam because I missed the refund window by like half an hour, less than half an hour. 2.5 hours of gameplay for this kind of game is way too short. Now I was thinking of saying something about needing a hot bath or hot water bottle, or trying to be funny, pretending that I'd really been in the Arctic, which is what I tend to do. But I completed this game so quick that if I had been there, I wouldn't have even got cold. So I'm just going to say, I'm off. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.